Hey there, this is Fritz Westover with Virtual Viticulture Academy and the Vineyard Underground podcast. And I've got a question today from a grower in California that I'd like to answer. This question is in regards to some symptoms that are showing up on the leaves of the vine. So we're going to go ahead and answer this question. And I think I can diagnose this just visually. So here we go. All right, the question's from California from a grower of Sangiovese, wondering if this is toxicity of some sort. And the question is, these are Sangiovese vines planted in the spring of 2023. So that means they're now in 2024 coming into their second year. They're extremely vigorous, as you can see. However, I saw a couple of leaves on this vine down low that had red edges. Can you tell from the photos whether this is an indication of a wood disease? Okay, so what I'm seeing here in this photo is a very vigorous second year Sangiovese vine. And when we see older leaves that start showing symptoms like this, we have to start thinking whether or not there's a potential for nutritional deficiency. Specifically, the nutrients that show deficiency on the older leaves are going to be those nutrients that are mobile within the plant. That means they're nutrients that can move from one part of the plant to another, depending on where the source is of that nutrient and where the sink is, which is the place where that nutrient is needed in higher demand. So the older leaves, as they become older, become a source for nutrients, mobile nutrients, and things like shoot tips and growing fruit or growing tendrils. Those are all things that are going to be sinks for resources like nitrogen, like potassium and magnesium and there's a few other mobile nutrients that can move around with the vine. Not all of them are as mobile. So the most common on old leaves like this would be either potassium or magnesium. So what I would say here is the symptoms are a little bit different. If you look here on this photo on the left, this is a more advanced stage of this nutritional deficiency symptom. In the middle, we see earlier symptoms showing up. And because the symptoms are showing up on the outer edge of the leaf, or what we call the leaf margin, that's an indication that this is most likely a potassium deficiency symptom. Had it been magnesium, those chlorotic or colored tissues would be showing up more in the middle of these main veins and not on the edge of the leaf. Now, if you're not sure if you have magnesium or potassium deficiency, or in the rare occasion that you have both of those deficiencies happening at the same time, it would be a good idea to get a leaf tissue sample. And you wouldn't want to sample these old leaves, but they certainly would tell you if you have a magnesium or potassium deficiency. So you can send in the symptomatic leaves, and then you can go up higher in the plant and collect some leaves that are not showing symptoms and do what I call a comparative analysis of the symptomatic versus non-symptomatic leaves on the same plant. And if indeed you show up with lower potassium, but not lower magnesium, then that would mean that this is indeed a potassium deficiency. So this is a red variety, Sangiovese. So the symptoms tend to be a little bit more red. There's some anthocyanins that create some color on the edge of these leaves during stress. And if it were a white variety, it might just be a little bit of yellowing rather than reddening. As the symptoms progress, you can see the whole leaf starts to change color to reddish yellow. And eventually that old leaf is going to just fall off of the vine. And I encourage growers not to touch the leaves or remove them, even though they might look off colored or look bad. This is not a disease in this case. And if it were a disease, the symptoms would most likely be moving all the way up the shoot. If it's potassium or magnesium or some kind of a mobile nutrient deficiency, it's going to be limited to the older leaves, and it might slowly creep up the shoot as that deficiency worsens if there's really a limitation in the nutrient availability from the soil. So in this case, I think just one leaf down here at the bottom, very, very little symptom development. This means that probably there's just so much vigorous growth that there's maybe just a lack of enough potassium to make all of the leaves 100% green and healthy. So this is probably not a case where we need to fertilize, but it's definitely an indication that we want to keep watching potassium each year when we do our plant samples at bloom and our plant samples at veraison. So overall, this vine is looking healthy. I probably wouldn't fertilize based on just one or two leaves showing these symptoms. I would probably wait until this vine gets a little older. The root system is going to be bigger. And when that root system is larger, it's going to interact and collide in the soil with a larger soil volume. And therefore, it's going to have availability or more access to potassium that's in the soil. So keep up with the plant tissue test on this. Make sure that you use this as an indicator that there could be future potassium deficiency in the site, but not necessarily the case. It may just be that it's a transient deficiency because the vine is young. So that's basically what I have to say about this. I think we cracked the case on this deficiency here and the symptoms found on this California Sangiovese vineyard. If you have any questions about symptoms you're seeing on your vines, you can go to the Vineyard Underground podcast, click the Ask Fritz button, and you can send me a note or attach a photo, anything you'd like. And if you are looking for more resources on grape growing in general, check out virtualviticultureacademy.com. I hope this is helpful. Get out there and be a better grape grower.